What is up, everybody? This is Tony Wiggins with a Postcast edition of Locked On Jaguars. Victory Sunday. The Jacksonville Jaguars pull it out 28-27. There's a lot of stuff to go through, a lot to iron out. We'll do it in just a second here on a Postcast edition of Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jags, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thank you for joining me, Tony Wiggins, your host today on Locked On Jaguars. We're at your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen, reminding you that we are free on all platforms. Wherever you get your podcast, make sure you like and subscribe as well. What up? As they say in the hood, what up, though? Let me tell you something, man. Before we even get into it, I'm going to just give you all the little specifics right away. The Jags win 28-27, right? That ain't even it, though. What the news is, or what the deal is the fact that I don't know if y'all got kids, but the first time they're able to ride their bike without training wheels, that's what it feels like. The first time you got your paycheck and you bought your own stuff when you were 16 years old, the day you got your driver's license, that's what it feels like. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about number 16. I'm talking about Trevor Lawrence. Trevor has arrived. He's graduated. And I'm going to tell you the significance of the graduation today, because he seems like he does this against teams that he's not supposed to do. And that in of itself is something that he should be very proud of, and you guys should hold on to. Trevor Lawrence has now played and beaten Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, and he played a whale of a game when he played Joe Burrow. He also played extremely well a couple of weeks ago when he played against Patrick Mahomes. He just didn't have a lot of help. What this tells me is that in the biggest moments against those guys, the people that everyone ranks above him, he steps up and he plays his absolute best. He did it today, and he did it today without his running mate, Travis Etienne. He did it today probably in front of a national audience because the game started late, and I think they had some bonus coverage going around, and he did it against a very good football team. And he also did it, and this is really, really important, when he was playing well, things went the other way. Baltimore Ravens, and what I mean by that is Lamar Jackson completes a long pass to Jackson, Deshaun Jackson. They milk the clock. Doug does a good job of saving himself some time by using his timeouts in the 2-minute warning. Baltimore scores a touchdown, converts for two. It was a little injury, it hurt a little bit because it was Josh Oliver, somebody that never did anything for Jacksonville, but I thought they gave up on him a little bit too early, so he goes to Baltimore, they're patient with him, and then he comes back here and starts punishing the people that cut him. So the thing for me was, it's like, here we go again. I got to do another podcast on a moral victory. I got to do another podcast saying that they need to figure out a way to get over the hump, right? And then all of a sudden, Trevor Lawrence comes out, gets sacked, looks like he fumbles the ball. They recover the fumble. Shout out to Luke Fortner for recovering the fumble. That is the effort that is needed all the way across the board. And then Jerry Rice / Zay Jones starts catching everything as he had done all day. All the receivers did a really good job of getting out of bounds. And then what do you know? They get down, and Trevor doesn't spike it. He throws a ball on a rope that only a very few quarterbacks in this league can make. And the veteran, Marvin Jones, caught it, toe tap, got in, scored a touchdown. And this is the key for Doug Pederson. This is why this is the signature game for Doug Pederson. Because he was going to go for two. I looked right at my wife and said, he's going for two. And the reason why I was so confident is because he has been aggressive all of this time, and he pissed y'all off when he did it. But I told you, there's a switch. You can't turn that thing off and on in moments like this. You can't get what they call lemon booty all of a sudden and you pucker up, and you got to be who you are, man. Trevor, look, they didn't take stuff off of his plate. You got to make tough throws, right? And I'm going to go for two. And when he went for two and without hesitation, those guys felt like they knew they were going to make it because that's who he is as a coach. And it paid off today. and they beat the Ravens. Now, I was a little bit perturbed with the fact that Baltimore has a kicker that can kick it from Savannah, and they squib kicked it. I told my wife, they only need one completion, and they got it. And I looked at her and said, he's going to make it. When I found out it was 67 yards, I was like, that might be a little bit too far, especially here in North Florida. We're not in a dome. He missed it by like a yard. And the Jaguars win the game. The stadium was in euphoria. Let me tell you something before we head to a little bit of quick intermission here. Even if they did not make it, that crowd was cheering the fact that he wanted to go for it. That crowd was cheering. That crowd was up on their feet. And then you ain't going to get into an overtime match with a dude that can kick the ball like Justin Tucker. You just don't do it. You don't give Baltimore life. And lo and behold, man, when he made it, it was almost like this lottery ticket, this payoff for all of the times that he was being aggressive earlier this year, and it did not happen for him. I am so happy for the Jacksonville Jaguars fans as a whole today. I'm glad we can do this podcast. It's going to be a good week. We're going to do all these podcasts this way this week. All right, I got to tell you something first. This episode is brought to you by Audible. Audible is releasing a slate of new football podcasts that we're sure you're going to love. That's why you'll be able to find Block Forever available as a bonus episode on Locked On NFL right now. Let me tell you what Block Forever is, man, because anytime you get these former players that want to give you a look inside of things, I think you ought to take advantage of it. Block Forever is a brand new podcast from former NFL All-Pro Ryan Khalil and Audible. Khalil takes the conversation about football to the next level. He gives football fans an insider's look at the game through the eyes of the greatest players and personalities of all time. I'm going to love this. Khalil sits down with star players, coaches, and former pros across the league to get real about what happens on the field behind the scenes, in the locker rooms, during team meetings, and back at the hotel. For instance, you'll hear Christian McCaffrey talk about his love-hate relationship with fantasy football, and Juju Smith-Schuster gives his most honest opinions on other players and positions in the league. Head over to the Locked On NFL for a sneak peek of Block Forever, or catch the full series available anywhere you get your podcast, available everywhere now. Audible, get in the game. That's right, man. Y'all got to get in the game, man. That sounds like something that is absolutely tremendous, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to that. All right, man. So I'm going to tell you guys today also about Prize Picks. You should know by now what Prize Picks is, and I hope you had some selections in today. If you had Trevor Lawrence, I think you probably did all right, because what it is, it's daily fantasy with entries that Prize Picks picks, and then they place player projections on those picks, and then all you have to do is decide whether or not you'll go more or less on those Prize Picks projections. Now, you pick 2 to 5 players, and if they score more or less than their Prize Pick projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections that's available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch: NFL, NBA, baseball, which is over, NHL, PGA, college football, men's college basketball. All of that stuff is going on right now, and Prize Picks is available. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. How do you do it? You download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit bonus match up to $100 with the promo code Locked On. I'll say it again for you. Locked On is your promo code. If you deposit $100 on your initial deposit, they'll give you $100 also. If you deposit $50, they'll give you $50. So don't forget to enter the promo code Locked On at sign up for an instant deposit match of up to $100 on Prize Picks. Do it from your computer, or you can do it from using the app. Download the app. So that's prizepicks.com. All right, man. Look, I know y'all are so happy today. I got a lot of people tuned in. Everybody was telling me that they were going to tune in, and they were happy, and they couldn't wait to have all of this stuff talked about today. Man, Trevor Lawrence, I'm going to give you the stats again. 29 for 37, 321 yards and 3 touchdowns. The answer is no. A lot of people are asking me on the live. I can't get to all the comments. Folks are asking me, do I know the extent of Travis Etienne's injury? I do not. I do not know if it has anything to do with the Liz Frank injury that he had last year. But I will tell you this. They said he could come back in the game, but you saw what Doug Pederson was doing. He was riding the hot hand. I have some questions about some things that they did, but today is not the day to be talking about that. Don't you hate when people do that? Like, this is time for euphoria. This is time for happiness. This is a time to focus on the fact that franchise quarterback, that kid that we talked about, we asked whether he was hungry enough. We asked, I'm going to be honest with you, I heard there was a challenge to him a few weeks back that he needed to play better. And sometimes that's what leadership is, when you hear it from your peers. Ever since when I was told that he heard that, similar to the fact that I did a podcast earlier this week and I said it was Muma time and Chad Muma started and played and folks thought I was just making stuff up. I don't do that. That's not what I do. I also heard that someone stepped to him, someone respectable who wears the uniform stepped to him and said, bro, you got to play better. You have to be better. And since then, other than Patrick Mahomes, and maybe not even him, to be honest, well, okay, maybe I'm going a little bit too far, but other than Patrick Mahomes, you'd be hard-pressed to find a quarterback that has played his last 3 games as well as Trevor Lawrence has played his last 3 games. And 2 of those games were against Kansas City and Baltimore, who are both top 5 teams in the National Football League. Trevor Lawrence is for real. He showed today that he has what it takes. What you saw with him and Zay Jones today is exactly what I reported on from training camp. When I told you I hadn't seen it from Zay yet. Today is what we saw from training camp when Zay Jones was whipping people in training camp. And anybody who was at training camp, ask any of your friendly media people or your favorites, if I'm not him, ask them. Trevor Lawrence and Zay Jones had this crazy chemistry, and today you saw it. I got to give a shout out to Captain Kirk too, Christian. Christian caught a ball on that last drive where he went up across the middle. He's known as a smaller guy. He went and high-pointed that thing and yanked it down out of the air. What you saw coming out of a bye, and this is what we talked about. You saw a team that was focused. You saw a team that says, you know what? I ain't worried about later. I'm thinking about now. You saw a hungry group. You saw a team that looks like they're a little bit rejuvenated. And yeah, you saw a team that I think if they play this way, I don't care who they play. They got the Cowboys coming in here. They got Detroit coming here. I guarantee you when Detroit comes in here, that kid's going to have it. 44 is going to have the game of his life. He had a big play today. It wasn't a sack, but there was a holding penalty that pushed Lamar Jackson back. Now, they ended up scoring a touchdown anyway, but Trayvon Walker had a play at the end of the game, and that's the kind of stuff you want to see. It looked like everybody was playing with desperation. Jermichael Hasty was making y'all go, James who? Soon as Travis Etienne got hurt, I got all of the James Robinson tweets. When Jermichael Hasty says, hold my beer. Watch this. And the kid stepped up, and he played well. The offensive line played well. Trevor was only touched a couple of times during the game. It was a penalty-free, clean game. I thought they tackled well. I do think there's some stuff that they still have to work on. But look, folks, nothing's going to be perfect in a football game. Nothing. Teams are going to score. Just like the Jaguars scored on them, they're going to score on the Jaguars. But the thing is they got punched in the face, and they did not buckle. And because they did not buckle, and they were able to make plays down the stretch, and you see them start to believe in Doug Pederson and his aggression, the fact that he's always, even when he was going before and y'all were saying he's leaving points out, this is what he was trying to get to. So they could play pedal to the metal. We ain't scared of nobody. If we decide to just take the 3, it's because we want to, not because we're afraid to go after anything. So all the culmination of everything that they've talked about, that we felt about Trevor Lawrence, it came out today, and you saw it. Now, I'm going to talk a lot more about this, because I know y'all want me to go all night, but I ain't going to do it, right? I'm going to talk a lot more about this week on Locked On NFL. It is going to be a celebratory, fun, beautiful week, because now there's some more enthusiasm. They're 4-7. Tennessee leads the division. They're 7-4. The Jags play them twice. All right? The Jags play them twice. I'm going to say it again. They're 3 games back, and they played them twice. Look, you saw what they're capable of today. Now let's hope that it resonates with them and they start to believe that they're capable of this. Tune in this week on Locked On Jaguars. We're going to get all into it, talk about Doug Pederson, all the quotes. I might have some guests, but I might not because I don't need it because we vibe together. This is what we do here on Locked On Jaguars. Make sure you tune in every day because Locked On Jaguars is your podcast. It's your team every day, and we always thank you for making us your first listen. I'll get to some of these comments, and I'll make sure that I tweet. Hit me up on Twitter as you see it going across the scroll bar at the bottom, and I'll also get to some of these comments and questions. One thing, no, I don't know anything about the Travis Etienne injury. I tried to wait until some of the press conference started from the locker room before I recorded, but it was a little bit extended. They didn't do it as quick as they normally do because I think they probably they're jumping up and down. So I'll have more of that for you tomorrow. I'll try to make the presser tomorrow too. I have a procedure I have to do at the hospital, but we'll see if I can get over there tomorrow when they have the presser. So I'll bring you some additional information. But they win, man, 28-27. And more than that, your quarterback took the training wheels off. And not only did he take the training wheels off, he popped a wheelie and rode with one hand while he was eating an ice cream sandwich in the other. And he showed you that he's ready to be that guy to lead this future, to lead this franchise in the future. Tune in tomorrow on Locked On Jaguars. And the rest of this week, man, I'll be with you. Until then, take care of each other. Drive carefully if you're listening in your car. Please make it home safely. And we'll see you tomorrow on Locked On Jaguars.